Good morning, Greg Meekin. Are you there?
Wow, good morning, Val. How is my sound coming through here?
Coming through loud and clear. Sounds great.
Is it is it really? This is a good mic position right here.
Yes.
Very good. Good morning. It's a happy Monday morning. Are you off to the races or is it just me, Val?
Oh no, we both are off to the races. I'm glad we could meet up in clear skies, sunshiny day ahead of us, and nothing but a sweet, sweet view from the very top. I can hear some birds in the background on your end. Greg?
Well, if that's the case, birds are inside my home office, Val. I don't know if that was some. I don't know if that was some sound effects, maybe from a Mike Phillips show or something. But I'm in my office. It's funny, Val, because we're here on time, right, ready to go. But you and I have been scrambling this morning. You being the busy, busy mom you are, and I have been joyfully being a houseboy for my wife, who is, as you know, recovering from hip replacement surgery. She is doing fabulous. Her rehab, she's about 2, 3 days out. Her rehab is coming along great. She's gaining her independence and mobility as we speak. But needless to say, Val, I've been running around like a busy little houseboy, as they say. I've been driving Miss Daisy, Val.
And you probably have a new appreciation for what happens in the home zone, from cooking to cleaning to making things happen. It's like the epicenter of relations, global scale, isn't it?
Well, any man that says they can relate to their wife, because I really mean this, Val, the most unsung hero to me in the world is a mom. Any man that says they can relate, forget it, forget it. Men, for the most part, men are hardworking guys throughout their lives, and they've got kids at home and a wife at home, hopefully a mom at home, and it's busy, busy, busy. But I'll tell you what, only in my later years, Val, in my 60s now, am I really looking back and just amazed at the job that my wife did raising kids, at the job that you do every day raising kids and raising a husband. The unsung heroes, and only when a man really has to take care of the house for more than, say, a 12-hour period in his life, whether it's a 2, 3 day, house sitting, or whether I remember having my little twins when Deborah was out of town, and they were little, probably 2, 3, 4 years old. But 2 or 3 days, a man can just is a changed man when he sees what you really, really do go through as mom. So kudos and hats off to you and all the moms out there, Val.
I like it. I like it. I hope we'll find this clip on your YouTube channel. If you like what you hear coming out of Greg this morning, give us the thumbs up. You can direct message us your questions, and you can follow up on Greg's YouTube channel, where he is live and interactive, and it's his channel, his way, his opinions, and some high level conversations are hiding amongst all those clips on your YouTube page. So you can find Greg, gregmeekin.com, or as his name is spelt, how it sounds, Greg, Greg Meekin, Meakin, on YouTube.
Well, what a nice boy. I should send some money to you for that nice plug there, Val. That was beautiful. That was great. I honestly, that my YouTube channel is I'm not going to say overwhelming me, but it's really so over delivering on what I ever expected. You have been following it literally since clip number one, with my radio shows with our mutual friend Mike Phillip with American Up Radio, and I've said it before, but it's really becoming a project of passion. Uh, both Mike and I and you and I, Val, have been doing such compelling radio. It's long form, conversational, interactive radio, as you know. That I said, well, listening to these shows, the clips are really kind of, in many cases, kind of standalone, almost historical little clips. They're all so good. It's good content. Sometimes with long form radio, you just hear people kind of like overnight talking where they just bore you to death, or they're on a subject you don't understand. And this is the opposite, as you know, Val. And I started really from the very beginning on my YouTube channel, catching show number one, episode one of the now 23 episodes on Mike's show. And it was as good back then as it is now. And I just can't believe it. I have, as we speak, I think it's over 250 videos posted now. And from all the shows, from your show, from Mike's show, some independent clips, some campfire chat stuff, which you remember. So over 250 videos. It's going to be about 300 any minute because I'm just getting caught up. But I'm just stunned with the nice response, Val. People are using the clips individually or sharing them, and because just they're standalone individual clips. And I encourage people, I really do, to subscribe. Just click subscribe to have my videos download to you guys daily. But it is new, fresh stuff. It's cutting edge stuff. There's so much on there. As I say, I'm just going to continue posting. But I've had responses from multi countries, Val, and last I look, I think I'm crowding on 6,000 hits according to YouTube. So it's been fun, and I thank you for the plug, and I thank you for the time to just share what's going on in my little YouTube world. I'll tell you, it really has been fun, Val.
Well, it's a joy. It's a joy to have you on the show joining today for another high level talk. If you like what you hear, you can catch Greg on a national syndicated radio program each and every Friday, American Radio Network with Mike Phillip, and his show is heard across Canada, USA, and beyond in other countries. But the show this coming Friday in particular is really, really good. Because you're always forever dropping secrets from the inside. And today on the show, we are pausing for the cause. Pause for the cause. And we're going to just zone in for a minute and head over the beautiful skies and territory of Alberta. So, Greg, what can you tell us about Friday's show on the American Radio Network with Mike Phillips and yourself?
Well, I'll tell you, there's not an episode, Val, with you that goes by that we don't chat about our beloved friends and family up in Alberta and how many people up there, the unsung, I believe, majority, the unsung, unheard majority of Albertans up there who are sick of it. They're sick and tired, like we all are in the United States. They're sick and tired of Ottawa. They're sick and tired of outrageous gas, outrageous energy prices, being second fiddle to Ottawa, being disregarded, dismissed, disenfranchised. I guess you get the point, don't you, Val? And we are, as you well know, and as you are a true partner in leadership. I've been a proponent of the Alberta USA movement, Alberta becoming the 51st state of the United States of America. Been a proponent, and I'm still full steam ahead, moving forward and endeavoring to that end. And as I've said, sooner rather than later. And all I'll say is, no matter what, Alberta and Albertans, they need some good news, Val. Americans need some good news. And the show is still in the works. This will be episode number 23 of Dueling Citizens with Mike Phillip. It's on the American Radio Network, which is americanupradio.com. Mike is also on the Rumble Network, Rumble channel, on the Stu Peters Network. On Rumble, I believe you just search American Radio. And this Friday at 12 noon, high noon Alberta time, high noon Mountain Standard Time, is going to be a special edition of Dueling Citizens. And all I can say right now is hopefully going to be some good news, some optimism for Alberta at this point. Everybody needs some good news, and it'll be a great show. No matter what, it'll be a fun show. There might even be, goodness gracious, some special secret guests as well, Val. So that's as much of a trailer teaser as I can let on, but you indeed are cutting edge. You're cutting edge. You are where new news gets its news, and you already know about this news. So tune in Friday. Be there or be square. Same bat time, same bat station, high noon, Alberta time on Friday. How about that, Belle? How about that?
I like it. That's like a little bit of a tease, because we are looking for solutions, we're looking for a plan, and we're looking to proceed. And on the lips of every politician that I've been on the receiving end of getting calls from, or secret talks, because some of them are scared. They're scared to talk about the future of Alberta. And when you don't have leadership with a plan for the future, you've got a failed plan on your hands. And that just means it's time for the citizens of Alberta, the people of Alberta, to stand up, rise up, and be a warrior, right? Like stand up and say what you want, and don't be afraid to think about what you want and take action, and discuss it and talk about it. I mean, choices and options. Come on, I mean, we're borderline in terms of government overreach in Alberta or across Canada. It falls right into the column of communistic tactics. So while you have freedoms, you need to use them and exercise them, and that starts with thinking and taking action, and charting out a course, whatever that looks like. I love engaging in conversations with people about, well, what do you want? What do you want in life? What's your hopes? What's your dreams? Are you living your best life? And so many from Alberta, it's a fail. It's absolutely failing. Every program is failing them, right from education to healthcare to um, you can't say tax reform. It's just nothing but tax increase. And it's more for government, less for the individual. So people are looking at, well, what do we do? And people I talk to, they just want to talk about, how much cheaper or more selection or more choices or options we have in the United States. Like they can hardly wrap their brains around the comparisons of Alberta to life in the USA. And as someone who has, I'm going on what, 3 years under my belt, it's just a night and day difference. And I was so glad to get my hands on a book, brand new, fresh off the press, Janelle Lamb's Bravery and Blinders. Okay, you need to read this book. And you can get it online. You can go to Janelle's website and purchase it there. I will give you all the contact info on how to get your hands on her book in just a minute. But I'm going to zone in for a minute. I believe it's page 80, 81. So jot that down, because this is a turning point, and this is a direct how to and what to do next when it comes to you, especially moms at home like me, and a storm is coming. Like you feel it, you can smell it, and everyone around you confirms the storm is coming. So you're getting prepared, regardless of what the weather forecast person tells you. You're not stupid. You know what's going on, and you're making plans. Janelle's book is so good because page 80, page 81, 82-ish, these are turning points for our movement, our pursuit of freedom when it comes to the individual, when it comes to family, when it comes to country, when it comes to just all aspects across the entire gamut. It's covered. She's covered it in pages 81 and 82 specifically, because this is where she gets into what it means to just leadership and fellowship, the difference between leadership and fellowship, and how this applies at home, and how this applies global scale, big picture. Uh, I want to share a little bit. I think we have some time today, Greg, where I can just unpack a little bit about this concept. So, how can we be a good follower without being just a passive non-leader? And she goes on to say, asking that question makes me think of my marriage. We are definitely co-leaders in many regards. However, most people, including me, realize that I am married to an extremely strong leader. He has been this way his whole life. Growing up, all the kids wanted to do whatever her husband was doing. And so when you're married to someone like that, how do you balance it out, right? How do you balance it out? And she brings it into the home zone. And if you take the time, get your hands on the book, you're going to learn, if you've got it together at home, how you can take those same principles and apply them outside to any capacity. The sky's the limit of what you want to do. And so I really feel that when you've got personal freedom conquered, meaning you're capable of making your own decisions and choices and making good ones that fall within acceptable law of society, you can really go on to do big things. And oftentimes, we hear about the works of those who are on like the other half, right? The other half of the team. In Janelle's case, she has a very public husband. But what she's actually equipping people to do behind the scenes from home is going to have an impact all the way that will be felt in Alberta. And I'm going on to say that. I know what's coming. And you're going to tell us more on Friday of how this all connects together. But I just want to touch on how we can expand our influence for good. Okay. And this is according to Janelle Lamb. It starts with our internal dialogue and believing in ourselves that we can make the changes needed to step up, recognizing that we have something valuable to contribute, and then having the courage to open our mouth and speak up. Whoa. Okay. So for those of you listening at home, what is it? Do you have the courage necessary to open your mouth and speak up? This is a problem in Alberta. We've got too many people with muzzles on who are afraid to stand up, speak up at home, in their churches, in their communities, in their places of influence, in their schools, to their doctors. See? Okay, so you got to buy the book. It's the fastest read of a book I have ever come across. I picked this thing up. I could not put it down. I was referencing from pages 75 through 81. Make a note of that, because this book for me was a real battle plan. It helped me go, oh my goodness, I get it. Click, 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 click. And how when we step up in confidence and we speak up, what it does for others and what we are capable of doing. Janelle Lamb went on to be the honorary co-chair of a committee. And I found it very inspiring because I wondered, how do you handle, or how are you qualified to be a leader? That's a question I've had politicians secretly phone, they'll phone and say, Val, like, what qualifies you to have these high level talks? Like, what's your deal? And at times, I would come down to their level and share, well, I have courage, check, check. I have good ideas, check, check. I'm available. I like to help people, check, check, check. They didn't always get it, right? And Janelle goes right into that. This is probably one of my favorite parts of her book, so I'm going to share it with you. So this is the part where Janelle just hears that she has agreed to be co-chair for the hospitality VIP tent. And it's like this is going to attract thousands and thousands of people, and very, very important people. Like, she has to plan a reception for honorary guests, including elected officials, charity heads, and speakers. So this is a big undertaking. So she says, after hearing about the plan and scale of this event and being in a room full of strangers, except only knowing two other people, I was terrified and apprehensive, not knowing what I was truly even signing up for, but I did it. I found my co-chair and we got to work right away. We had essentially 12 months to put our committee together. Okay? A whole year. It sounded like a long time, and it was, but I can see that the other committees needed every bit of time to get clearances from the city, get bids, plan logistics, order product, and more. I can throw a reception together in a couple of weeks, but this had a lot more moving parts than just ordering a white tent and food. There were things to consider, like the size of the stage as it relates to the size of the tent, the flow inside the tent, the flow outside the tent, a VIP area inside that was separate for speakers, a photo area, and much more. I was able to get most things donated, such as a plant and trees from the local nursery, as well as the U-Haul truck to transport all the decor, furniture, and supplies down to Phoenix on the day of the event. Did we have too many meetings? Maybe, but I was fortunate that my co-chair was really good at the spreadsheets and budgeting and meeting details. We were a great team, and our committee was an amazing group of women. Coming up with a centerpiece and a balloon garland was easy for me, but keeping us all organized was her strong suit. I was definitely out of my element, but I certainly gained a new perspective. I'm glad I took that scary leap and said yes to a committee, even if I had no idea what I was getting into. Most of all, I made some amazing connections, and that room full of strangers became friends and colleagues. I also learned that I never, never want to be in charge of a huge charity event. I'll have to find another way to contribute my time and talents. I may just be a VIP tent kind of girl, and that's okay. Seeing firsthand the talents and skills of other people on this project was inspiring to me, as well as being part of something big. So, moms listening at home, we all have these amazing talents, but oftentimes we lack courage to say yes and step up and speak it boldly. For those of you listening in Alberta, now is the time. It is time to rise. It is time to stand up. It is time to voice your opinions at home, at church, in the community, at the watering hole, at the grocery store, at the school, at the doctor's office, everywhere. You know what you know, and we have to take words like this from inspiring people that have done it and who are doing it and go, hey, we can do this too. So I just look at the VIP tent that she was in charge of, and I can tell you that really hit my heart, Greg. Really hit my heart, because I feel like that's something I could do after seeing her recipe of how to do it well, how to do it right. It's really a blueprint for me to really come into this as a qualified representative for Alberta, and for, just welcoming people home, getting them to a place of freedom. That's just really my heart.
It's amazing. I loved hearing you read excerpts from Janelle Lamb's book. The quick review, of course, Janelle Lamb is the wonderful wife of our Pinal County Sheriff, Mark Lamb. Janelle's, you're reading from Bravery and Blinders, which is a magnificent book. Her previous one to that was The Sheriff's Wife, which was also wonderful. Her husband's also got a couple great books out. And I, as you do, Val, I totally recommend reading both Janelle's books and Mark's, because they're very often you see books by quote famous people, and they tend to be like a bio tribute to the author, And in this case, both Janelle, that was wonderful, wonderful book that you read from. She didn't want to just describe her experiences, which were just amazing, amazing experiences, but she wanted to have them apply to you as a mom, like she was. She wanted to relate to regular folks, and most importantly, teach lessons from her life experiences, and give you a plan of action, almost a checklist. Her chapters are almost like checklist, a plan of action of what to do moving forward, how to cope moving forward, how to overcome moving forward. So again, they're delightful, and I'm going to bring up just two quick things on that issue. You talked about the fellowship, Val. Fellowship, I love that. Janelle Lamb is a very underrated wordsmith, and one of her hobbies is to create new words. Fellowship, at least, was one of those that she kind of coined in her book, Bravery and Blinders. And I love the term fellowship, and I also love the term comfort pony, because these are the same thing. As Janelle kind of clearly stated, most relationships have a thoroughbred and a comfort pony. Like the horse racing world, the thoroughbred, meaning the one that goes out, and we all know the secretariats of the world, they run the race, but one of the most important parts of the team in horse racing is the comfort pony. That's the one who keeps the thoroughbred half squared away before he gets into the gate to go racing. The comfort pony is as valuable as someone who embraces fellowship. What Janelle was relating with her wonderful story of being a host of the VIP tent. I mean, that is just great. And the question forever amongst any comfort ponies, and comfort ponies can be the husband or the wife or what have you. But the question always is, what's my purpose? You know, the thoroughbred in my family's rocking and rolling, getting all the headlines. What's my purpose? And do I even have any value? And not only, and that brings up the issue of fellowship, because Janelle clearly states, and what you embrace, Val, and what I embrace, and what my wife embraces, because she's the all-time comfort pony in history, is fellowship is a real normal thing. Fellowship is a co-leader. It's a co-leader, but it's bringing your skills, your trait, your skill sets, your gift. Normally, things like nurturing, taking care of kiddos, organizing the family. These are fellowship things. These are comfort pony things, and they're of equal value in the team. So if anything, and to get a little bit wordy there, that's my expansion on the thought you brought up. I'm so, when you're talking about Janelle's book, I was thrilled you read those excerpts, Val. And when we talk the ultimate fellowship and the ultimate comfort pony, that's what I see the Alberta 51 yes voters, Val, to bring it full circle. They don't have to go out there on megaphones. They don't have to go out there and give speeches or get on the radio like you and me, or get on TV or what have you. All they need to do is register to vote in an Alberta referendum when the opportunity comes up, and to vote yes or no or undecided, but to vote. That's all they need to do. They'll be the ultimate comfort pony. It will be the ultimate fellowship, and it'll be the ultimate gift, eternal gift, to not only themselves, being now dual citizens, but to their kids, their grandkids, their great grandkids, and beyond. So if that brought it right back to AB 51, Alberta 51, Val, I don't know what did. So, bless you on the stuff you're talking about today, and bless all the people out there, whether you're a thoroughbred trying to change the world, or whether you're just an awesome comfort pony. You're equally valuable in God's eyes.
I love that. That's so good. Janelle's book can be purchased on her website, sheriffswife.com. And you can order this book if you are in Alberta. Get your hands on it. I would love to if I could do things my way, I would have it delivered to you overnight. Just drop it at your door, because I sat down to read the book, planned just, take a sneak peek, and I was hooked. I read the whole thing one sitting and didn't stop. It's powerful, powerful stuff. Alberta is searching for a solution. They're looking for leadership. They are sick and tired of, what's the definition of insanity? To keep doing the same thing over and over, knowing it doesn't work. And so we're really excited because Friday is a big day. Referendum is on the lips of every Albertan. And they're free to say yes to it or no to it. I mean, just go to the U.S. border and talk to any border agent. The question they ask is my referendum question. Do you want to come to the USA? Yes or no? Right? How many times have Albertans answered this question? But now it's really close to home and it's personal. It's real because this is about, a new life. This is about this is an upgraded life, is what it is. What we're talking about, what we're proposing is to leave an insane way of failing and come into an upgraded life. And, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We've got people that have been preparing their entire lives for this and have already set the stage. People like Gordon Kessler, former separatist MLA, right? Our very first. And he hasn't stopped. He's only increased. I mean, I have trouble keeping up to him. He is such a wealth of information, as you are, Greg. And when our generations can come together, sit at the table, and just lay it all out and say, okay, we're at the drawing board. We get to pick what we do, what course we chart here. And I'm just blown away at the resources and the supply that you guys are just equipping me personally and so many others in this movement of essentially upgrading our lives. That's what we're doing. We're upgrading.
Exactly. I mean, you couldn't have put it better, Val. It's an upgrade. And to be really clear, if Alberta becomes the 51st state, folks can stay right there where they are. Edmonton, Calgary, even Red Deer. You stay where you are if you like. A lot of people love Canada. I love Canada. But you will be protected and emboldened by the United States of America. You literally will simply live under that currency, U.S. funds, U.S. laws, First Amendment, Second Amendment, no equalization, thank you very much, and on and on and on and on. And so stay as Canadian as you want, stay up in Canada, or you've got all 50 states. You got the lower 48, just cruise on past the former customs stands, and hopefully it'll be just a bunch of flower pots as you drive by and cruise down and go see any of the states, go live in the other states, go work in the other states, just like we have the enjoyment here. We've said this a million times, Val, and I so appreciate this long form being able to expand, but we've said it so often, and because I don't think it exists in Canada, is the autonomy of each state, all 50 states in the United States. This is a structural thing. It's a constitutional thing. It's not an opinion. It's not something. It's a constitutional thing, and they're guaranteed protections. And all 50 states can be as individual as they want. And I believe that's unlike Canada, because I do believe Canada is very heavy-handed, managed, and overseen by Ottawa from a federal standpoint. But in the States, there's so much difference between living in Vermont and, say, living in California or living in Utah or living in Florida. You can move to any state that you choose. And bottom line, you're under the same constitutional protections. So the folks up in Alberta that want to stay Albertan and stay up there, fine. But you'll have the priceless gift of dual citizenship for you, again, your kids, your grandkids, and so forth. I want to take, before I blabbered here, I know, but I think it's worth it, Val. I want to reach out for like a quick second to Canadian politicians, and mainly Alberta, I guess. But I want to reach out to them personally. I know a lot of them from over the years. Just a quick review. I did indeed vote for Pierre Elliott Trudeau twice. I voted for Pierre Bourassa, who was a Liberal from Quebec, a couple of times. I voted no on 2 Quebec referendums, whether Quebec should be sovereign of Canada. I voted no. By the way, the second referendum, there was real talk of voter fraud in that one. I won't go there today, but anyhow, But because of that, and because of my writing, just publishing over the years, the first political interview I did was being in the press pool for Pierre Elliott Trudeau at Mohawk College visit. So, of all the Canadian politicians I've known over the years, and of all shapes and sizes and dimensions, as they say, most of them I found are really nice. They're really nice people. They're honorable people. They're forthright people. Likely they all went into politics wanting to make a change. I think politicians in some ways are underrated that way. But the problem that the nice folks have, and I mean it all the way down the line, I think Danielle Smith, she seems like a really nice person. I've seen a lot of them up there, and again, I try desperately not to follow Canadian politics too closely, Val, you know that. But they seem like nice people. The 80-20 rule, where 80% of us agree on life, and there's about 20% that we disagree on. And there you go, and you talk about them, you fix them, you make solutions. And I think there's more Canadian politicians up there, both at the provincial and at the federal level, that are like that. However, the problem is, and whether they've discovered it or not, they are working within the Canadian political framework. And they are working within and under the direct microscope supervision of Ottawa, the Trudeau government, and the federal government as a whole, including the RCMP out west and elsewhere. So no matter how nice and forthright and all this stuff that folks want to be in Alberta, specifically Alberta politicians, if you talk to the old black and white guys like me and the Gordon Kesslers and stuff, I just don't see an answer for anything up there under Confederation. Sorry, I just don't see it. I see the only answer for Albertans, and I'm talking registered voting Albertans. Everybody else is irrelevant to this conversation. Everybody else is either a non-voter or a spectator or maybe a commentator, but they don't vote in Alberta. These are the folks that I am reaching out to, that you're reaching out to, that Mike Phillips is reaching out to, that Gordy Kessler is reaching out to. And those folks, including the politicians, can vote yes in the next referendum. Yes. And they will be, honestly, I think it's the only out. They'll at least be under the protection of the United States Constitution and under really the framework of laws that the United States has, good, bad, or indifferent. As far as governments down here, we go through presidents, like a merry-go-round. But it's their way to cut their gas prices in half, to cut their taxes in half, to not have border restrictions, to be able to not go through immigration nonsense, to be able to have their pensions paid and guaranteed lifelong in U.S. funds, on and on. The advantages go on and on. But to Canadian politicians out there, honestly, if I were up there right now, I'd be on board Alberta 51. It's the only answer. It's the only answer. It's easier than people will think. And I don't want to hear I don't have any time for naysayings, especially naysaying from people that don't have any skin in the game. It's easier than you think. The invitation is going to come from the United States side of the border. But Canadian politicians of every stripe and denomination, I encourage you to look, if anything, look hard at the Alberta 51 option choice. Look hard at that. Educate yourself. You won't believe the benefits for Albertans. And long term, I'm talking 20, 30, 50 years, 100 years down the road. So you folks up there, if you're politicians who are politicians in Alberta, I'm assuming you're allowed to vote in a referendum, so you can vote yes too. You can vote no, or you can stay undecided till that referendum day somehow gets around to coming about. So that's my monologue of the day. That's from the heart, Val. I'm thrilled that really we had this unscheduled, impromptu time once again for you really to share your heart and for me to share my heart. So to all Canadian politicians out there, I love you. You're nice folks. You just need to start weaning yourself off of Ottawa and the rules up there, okay? you need to wean yourself off the rules up there. There you go. Fait accompli, Val.
I like what you had to share there. You're talking about the protection that the United States offers, and this is so important. This is what politicians need to look to and understand what and how the US Constitution works. They need to talk to the family members of those who have given the ultimate sacrifice of their lives because they have stood over the test of time for this great nation and the opportunity and what this represents. This is a path where there is lost lives on. We cannot take this for granted. This is an amazing time in history. At this time, Greg, I do have to address the elephant in the room. People are scared, and that includes politicians. Okay, they're listening. They're hearing what you're saying. And I have had high-level conversation with some of these people, and they are scared. Some of them are scared. They're too scared. Just like I was addressing the moms at home and how they lack courage sometimes to stand up when they can feel the storm coming. Now I am speaking directly to those politicians that are scared. Some of them have shared what it's like to be just surrounded by handlers who tell them, you do this, or else. They face real scary situations for what you're telling them to do. So Greg, what advice do you have for scared Alberta politicians and how to react? And who can they look to? Who should they look to in this?
Well, when you said the elephant in the room, you're so right on the money. What was going to be a relaxed little pause for the cause, Val, it turns into edgy, inside, secret, elephant in the room conversation. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love coming on your radio show, Val. Here's what I have to say. A couple of just quick points. Socialism equals scared. Okay, if you're scared, and I mean this because I've been there. I lived in Quebec under martial law, Val, under the Polite War Measures Act. If you're scared, it means you're living under socialism, period. And I say the word broadly now, socialism, to include so many spectrums of really just citizen oppression. The most, I'd say, not scared, but concerned and oppressed I have felt in 40 years with these COVID lockdowns. Where literally, Deborah and I, we go out, we go out for our desert drives with the dog in Arizona down here, and we do 20,000 miles a year. I don't do kilometers. Thank you very much. But because we love to drive and we love to get out there. And these COVID lockdowns, really, if people remember, the police were prowling. The police, you don't even start getting into what happened to, pastor up there in Alberta. Incredibly tragic stories. But for the first time, I'm sitting in my car. It's during the true COVID lockdowns. They were awful. And I was kind of looking over my shoulder to see if police were coming or we're parked this way in the desert. Do we look suspicious? Do we need to have masks? It was gross. It was flat gross. And I'm just going to say as a blanket statement, if you're scared, you're under socialism. And I feel for you. And all of us, to an extent, are under, quote, a little bit of wrath of socialism. We watch what we say when we post on social media. Be careful what we say when we're out in public. Newscasters are afraid to say certain things. If that's the case, then we're living under the language police, okay? We've talked about this, the language police. You're only allowed to say certain things by law. If that's the case, I just say you're living under socialism. In the United States, I don't care what anyone says, Val, it's a different situation. The United States has two things that no other country has, including Canada. They have a First Amendment, unconditional First Amendment. And they have a Second Amendment, First Amendment, obviously, right to free speech, and a free press. A free press.
Amen.
And secondly, is the right to bear and own and carry arms. What nobody knows is the oh yes, of course, constitutional scholars do. The founding fathers built in the total right to keep and bear arms, including ammunition and everything else, and any kind of arm you want in order to, are you ready? Not only self-protection, are you ready? In order to protect yourself from an oppressive government, like the government of Britain and England used to be when they wanted to take our guns. I am not a gun guy. I'm a Canadian peacenik. I've never owned a gun in my life, but I am a staunch take a bullet for the Second Amendment. And those two things alone, the First and Second Amendment, not to mention the constitutional protections and U.S. currency and all that stuff. Those are a reason to vote Alberta 51 yes for anything. I'll finish with this. We have a mutual friend, Val, named Sheriff Mark Lamb, and his wonderful wife, and his comfort pony, Janelle Lamb. And I had as you remember well, Val, people listening here don't remember or don't see it. They don't, obviously it hadn't been broadcast. But there are clips on my YouTube channel of my secrets from the Inside Campfire chat last summer. And you were there, Val, and I was there, and Sheriff Mark Lamb was there. He's just flat my hero. Sheriff Mark Lamb's amazing. Sheriff Mark Lamb is a doer, not a talker, right? We all know this. He's a man of action. He's a thoroughbred, for sure. And as the diplomatic Canadian journalist that I've been since 1978, on and off, I asked Mark a question before we started recording, Val, and you might even remember that. I said, Sheriff, this is not a live broadcast. It ended up being almost an hour and a half long form interview without interruptions, hour and a half, Val, you remember. And I said, before we started, I said, Sheriff, this is not going to be a live broadcast. Important to know. We're figuring maybe an hour or so. But if there's any question that you don't like or you're uncomfortable with, feel free to let me know. And he looked at me in a really fun, confident sheriff way with his big old cowboy hat and his beautiful big smile. And he said, Greg, I ain't scared. You ask anything you want. I ain't scared. I ain't scared of no question. He said, I ain't scared. I made sure I didn't write it down. It's kept it forever. And he actually, Val, because you remember it, he actually taught me a lesson in life with just that statement. Because I have half of me is Canadian, Val, and I get scared all the time and apologize all the time for stuff. So you remember that moment, and you even have your candid moments from that campfire chat. But my message to Albertans, don't be scared, okay? Don't be scared. You deserve nice things, okay? And ask Val Olson and ask Mike Phillip, ask Greg Meek, and ask Sheriff Lamb what it's like to be American. And for that feeling alone, you can do it with a vote, with a yes vote, and you also deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve nice things and a beautiful way of life.
I love that postcard. That is so beautiful. And it's true. Being here, life feels better and it feels like home. My advice is don't go through another day of wishing for something. Set your sights on a goal and achieve it and accomplish it. And there are more of us than less of us. And Sheriff Lamb is known here in our county, where he is the official sheriff, for leading a team of people that are like-minded, that speak an international language. And you'll get it or you won't. So you'll see what side of this you fit on. But he often closes his speaking engagements with this: Fear not, do right. And if you stop and think about that, fear not. Like, walk out of a state of being scared and worried and held back and just do the right thing that is in your scope and ability to do. That's it. That's your job. And if you do that, life is going to be better. I promise. I guarantee it. I am coming to you from this side of the 49th parallel, and there is nowhere else on planet Earth I want to be right now as I cheer every one of you who has hope in your heart and you want to say, yeah, it's my choice. I vote yes. I want to leave Canada. This is your right. Don't forget that, and do not give it up. Do not give it up. And hey, if you don't want to and you're just happy with the lot in life that the government tells you you get, so be it. Check no. But for those of you that want the upgraded life, want a path out, you really want to experience life on the trail and paving your way and pursuing what real freedom is, it all points one direction: Alberta, USA. Greg Meekin, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time, which started over a year ago, and really coming alongside and seeing something. I don't know what it was, but you took the time, you invested, you teach, you do more teaching, and you show. You show, you teach, and you listen. And for that, I am forever grateful and thankful. And all of these broadcasts that we have done together, week after week, I stand on the information in every one of them as being the truth, as being the path out of this. And, it's ready for syndication. So you never know where these broadcasts could end up. But if you're listening and you want these broadcasts close to your home, reach out. Right, Greg? You can get a hold of us on your website, gregmeekin.com. Or if you just want to get a dose of smarter, you can go on my website too, valolsonnews.com, where new news gets the news.